Hey everybody, it's Pixel, and today we're going to be cooking some more stuff up for spooky season, and we're going to be attacking butternut squash lasagna today. And for that, we're going to need a yellow pepper, a red onion, looks like an orange pepper, 2 zucchini, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, salt and pepper, olive oil, butternut squash. Going to need some milk, brown sugar, cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger, and allspice, some salt, lasagna noodles that are either put in and bake or that you have to boil. Going to need ricotta, an egg, some more salt and pepper, some mozzarella cheese, and some Parmesan cheese. So, that sounds like a list to me. I say we should get going. Okay, we've got our oven preheating to 400 degrees, and we are going to be roasting up all our vegetables. So that means we got to put them all on the pan, including the one that wanted to jump ship. Put the peppers we cut up on there. Got our mushrooms, a lot of veggies. Some of the onions. If you don't like onions, just use a small red one like I did. And make sure they're bending with their friends a little better over here. I'm going to give this a light sprinkle of olive oil after I open it. So I forgot this is my new olive oil. Whoa. Well, I was going to do light. No.
Well, there's quite a few in there. You gotta coat them all, too.
Yeah. Help move that around a little bit, or you could use a brush maybe. That might be a little less oily hand syndrome. I'm gonna take my little cauldron of spices, do a nice even, or I'm trying to sprinkle over. There we go. If you want that to mix up a little better, probably without your hands this time, you can always just mix it up a little bit with one of your spatulas or something. It looks like that all has the veggies on it. We're going to be putting this into the oven for probably around 25 minutes. Okay, our next step at the same temperature, so you can do them together if you time them right, is to take our butternut squash, put it all on the pan. After you cube it up, and as using fresh butternut squash, you're going to want to cut that in half very carefully with a knife, and then cut it up cubed into these little slices. Once again, give it a decently light to generous amount of oil. I'm going to be adding in our stuff like our nutmeg and our salt and pepper over these. We don't have as much of that because it's potent, so we're going to just, And if you want to mix it up a little better, once again, take that spatula or spreader and mix it
good, doesn't it?
It does. It smells like fall and trickery and
I like fall recipes.
Hocus pocus and stuff. Alright. And once again, we're going to just take those, and we already have the oven preheating to 400, and put them in there with their little friends, the vegetables. And these are going to cook for about an hour because it is a squash, and it is raw, and it is going to take that long to cook. Okay, once our squash is all roasted, we are going to be putting it in here. Probably should have kept my spoon, so I apologize. Ends up being a lot of squash. Look at that. Next, we're going to add our milk to it. And our brown sugar. And that is going to be taking a really long ride in our blender because we need it to be very, very smooth because it's going to be the sauce for our lasagna. Okay, as you can see, our butternut squash puree, aka sauce, is done, and our vegetables are roasted, and they turned out beautiful looking. So there's nothing left to do, really, except for assemble our lasagna and get that cooking. Alright, to start off our lasagna assembly, we're going to take some of that lovely puree that we made. Not a whole lot, but not too little either. This is going to be the base of our lasagna. Got enough of it, so spread that around. Looking good. Probably afford a little tiny bit more right in there. Alright, nice solid butternut squash base. Now, I've chosen to use noodles that do not need cooking, so it is a simple fact of laying them in there. Put 3 each layer. And then we're going to take, I do believe, our ricotta cheese. Put a nice layer of that down. She's so silly.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody can hear lyrical, she's indulging in spooky season as well. Trying not to put a ton, but then coating it is a thing. So. Alright, that looks like a beautiful layer of ricotta. Yeah, put some of these vegetables down. They look delicious. You can press them down into the cheese so they're not sticking up and bulking up the dish as much.
How many layers of this are we doing, Heather?
I think about 2 from what it looked like.
Okay.
With lasagna noodles to top it off on the top to cover
Okay.
with sauce.
Gotcha. Just curious. I wasn't sure how many.
Yeah. Sometimes you get a little less or a little more, and you kind of just eyeball it and, you know, I was about to say deal with it, but, you know.
No, I know what you mean.
Adequately dish out accordingly.
Yep.
And the only thing we have left to do, excuse me, is take a good handful of cheese, sprinkle that over our vegetables.
Mm.
And we're going to start rinsing and repeating. Because next is more of our pumpkin. Oh, I'm sorry. Our butternut squash puree. It looks like pumpkin, kind of. It smells
It does,
like it.
and I think that's why it kind of came across that way, yeah.
Yeah. Put a little bit more. Of course, it's going to be a thingy because of the cheese under it, but that's okay.
It should spread when you bake it, though, I think.
It's going to goo all together anyway, so... Alright, you gotta save some of that for the topping of it, almost like a sauce once again. Probably just take our noodles and spread it off there. Yeah, look at that. If we nestle our noodles onto it, it spreads out kind of on its own.
Yep, that's good.
Put a little bit of that. And like I said, you just rinse and repeat, and I'll be back when I'm ready to top it off again. Okay, and the last final step before we put it in the oven is to put our Parmesan cheese over it. Freshly shred up Parmesan cheese. So good. Just need a light coating of it. Now, if you wanted a little more cheese on top, like it's more traditional to put more cheese, you can sprinkle a little extra of the cheese that you either put into the casserole or some that you have extra in the fridge, maybe. But I think this is pretty adequate for it. I might shred up a little bit for in this area, but I'm not going to drench it in cheese. And then on top of that, you're going to give it a light sprinkling of the parsley. I almost said provolone. Yeah, that's provolone, all right.
Parsley.
And this is going to be baking at 400 degrees for 15 minutes covered with foil, and then 15 or 20 without until things on top are brown. Okay, our lasagna has baked up nicely. It has come out of the oven, and now is the best time of the whole recipe is to taste it. And slam on the dish, apparently.
Might be hot, be careful.
Yeah.
Does look really good, though.
That is really good.
Yeah.
Like, you almost can't tell that that's... I mean, you can tell there's no sauce in it tomato-wise, but it's acting like a sauce, so it doesn't matter. So yeah, it tastes really good. It has that nice veggie flavor in it that you expect for fall, the roasted flavor and everything. I would say I'm going to make this again. And probably Mom will, too.
Oh, no doubt. I'm sure I already
It's
can
so
tell.
good. Alright, well, if you know anything I did wrong, thought you would have done something different, have made this before, or a version of it, you know the drill. Leave me a like, leave me a comment, share me out, do whatever you want to do, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!
Bye, folks. Bye.
Bye!